This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
There's one thing that will forever change the way you sleep, and it's the softest 100% organic cotton bedding from Boll & Branch. You'll fall asleep faster, wrapped in the most luxurious comfort. You'll never sleep hot again with airy blankets, cloud-like duvets, and breathable sheets. You'll experience pure comfort on night one and feel your bedding get softer with every wash. Discover the difference with 15% off your first order at bollandbranch.com with code CUMULUS. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
Welcome back. It's another Bob and Tom Extra. This is Christopher. Not only is the Bob and Tom Show live every weekday morning, but every afternoon we'll give you a little extra in case you missed anything. Coming up on the big show today, comedian Mike Birbiglia. He's coming up right after this.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
After a long day of blessing tourists and pilgrims in St. Peter's Square, it's time to kick back, loosen the old cassock, and enjoy a tall, cold one. And if you're the Pope, there's only one brand of beer you reach for, and that's White Smoke Ale.
Hey, it's me, the Pope, and I'm here to tell you that the secret to making a good beer is in the water. So you could forget about your mountain streams and your pure Arctic springs, because a White Smoke Ale is made with holy water. Bam! Oh, we just kicked every other beer's hoppy butts, you know? Even those snotty microbrews with their 2-row malted barley and a citrus and pine notes. Ugh. Unless you're drinking with squirrels, why would you want pine notes in your beer anyway?
We confess, White Smoke Ale is beechwood aged, so it goes down smooth. Stop doing penance for overpriced beer that doesn't satisfy. Once you try White Smoke Ale, it's one habit that's hard to break.
Hey, I don't mean to get all holier than thou here, even though that's basically my job description. But most people are virgins to good beer, and not in a good way. I mean, look at this swell you drink, eh? Frankly, it all tastes like a Schlitz to me, but not White Smoke Ale. This stuff is heavenly. I tell you, I think if they had served this at the Last Supper, I bet you the big guy might have stuck around for a couple extra days, you know?
It's the beer that made the Vatican famous. White Smoke Ale.
I like it in the bottle.
I like it in the can.
No. That would be a sin. Wow. You should drink a beer out of glass. It tastes a lot better.
And look for our latest seasonal brew, Highest Pumpkin Spice Ale.
Even my older frat brothers, the Cardinals, love it. Right, fellas?
Tastes great, less fallible. Tastes great, less fallible.
Okay, settle down, you knuckleheads. These guys are so crazy. They was trying to tell me the patron saint of a beer was a St. Pauli girl. The only beer for us is a White Smoke Ale. Just a one sip, and I guarantee you'll pass over other brands. See what I did there?
That's White Smoke Ale, the king of kings of beer.
And remember, if you've had too much to drink, give someone else the keys to the Pope Mobile.
It's our way of making sure you haven't missed anything. This is Bob and Tom Extra.
And here's Tom with our very special guest.
All right. It's great to see him again. He is comedian Mike Birbiglia.
Morning.
Mike's been our guest for many, many years. And Mike is currently on tour with a show that's going to eventually land at the Beacon Theater in New York City. Is it in March?
March, yeah.
Wow.
That's the finale.
This is great. And I saw the show. I went to Chicago to see the show. It was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
It's a great show. And now, what is the title of the show? I'm confused.
The touring title was Please Stop the Ride, which is a reference to a story I told years ago when I was about how when I was a kid we would go on the Scrambler. You remember the Scrambler?
Oh yeah. Yes.
They put you in a thing and they lock you in and you're inside of a circle, which is inside of another circle inside of a circle. And I went on with a girl I had a crush on when I was in 7th grade, and I thought that we were gonna make out and at the carnival, and we didn't. I threw up off the side of the Scrambler. So when I started the tour, I thought, well, that's a good, because I remember being on that Scrambler and thinking, I need to tell the Scrambler operator he needs to stop the ride. But the mathematics of the Scrambler are such that the window of opportunity in which one can communicate with the Scrambler operator is very limited. So I was like, I got to tell the guy to stop the ride. I got to tell the guy to stop the ride. Please stop the ride. And I'm back and scramble. And then cut to, I throw up off the side of the Scrambler, and we didn't make up. But that was when I started the tour. It was thematically what the show is about. Is like I'm doing a bunch of material about raising a child and flashing back to when I was a kid. And then over time, it's become The Good Life. That's the new title of the show, which is loosely based on, I don't know if you guys have this, but in Brooklyn, there's like smoke shops everywhere that have these cutesy names. And the other day, my daughter, who's 9, looks up. She goes, "Dad, what's The Good Life?" And that's what it's called. And I was like, I don't even know. It's not what I'm doing. And then I'm trying to explain drugs. And, I'm just like, there's some drugs that make your brain go faster and some that make your brain go slower. And I can't think of the drawbacks, but there's probably some. And I don't think you should use them, but I do sometimes, not often. Mostly when I was younger, not your age, like 3 years older than you are now. But it's a lot of like this show is just a lot about how much I can't explain to my daughter. I'm sure Christy, you can relate to.
How old's your daughter?
Yeah.
How old is she now?
She's 9.
Okay, I got a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's the thing Tom and I have in common because we're the same age.
Well, Christy offered advice early. Remember about Tom having kids?
Most normal men stop having children.
Oh, no. Don't say normal, Christy.
Now, obscure insider comedy thing I want to do here that no one's going to pick up on this, but maybe somebody tonight, or if they see Mike's been coming on our show for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him briefly after the show in Chicago. And one of the first jokes he ever told emerges in this show with a new tag. That's all I'm going to say.
Gosh, that's true.
For those people out there that really know Mike's work, I was watching the show, really enjoying it. All the night, I went to Kelly. That's an old joke, but he's got a great new tag on it. So obscure comedy.
Well, I won't say the joke, but I will say this: how that joke comes up is because Christy, you might find this interesting.
Yes.
This year, did you catch this? I got invited to meet the Pope.
Oh, yeah.
I did catch that.
That was a wild
Yes.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Which was very surprising to me.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think he's seen my act. I don't think he has Netflix. I think he has Pope Flix. Because, it was... I found out because Jim Gaffigan, our friend Jim Gaffigan, called me. And he was like, so the Pope wants to meet some comedians, and you're on the list, and I'm on the list, and I don't know. I'm going to go. And I said to him, I go, well, that's such an honor, but does the Pope know, Pope Francis, does he know we're comedians? We're going to probably talk about this on stage. And Jim goes, he's got to know. And so I thought about it, and then I went, and it was unbelievable. Do you remember seeing this? It was like Chris Rock.
I do remember
Colbert
seeing this because I think I said something because the Vatican is such an amazing place anyway. I was just there this summer, and to be in that room with the Pope, I can't imagine.
So strange, and it was very strange because I'm introducing my daughter to it, and I was raised in that whole universe, right? Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a priest, mostly because of the laughs.
I thought you were going to say the wardrobe.
I like the wardrobe. They just get, as a kid, I was going to church going, they're getting way too many laughs on this material. There are barely jokes here. It'd be like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John Boy. People would be like, Father Timothy's hilarious. Like, he's not hilarious. Get me some altar time. I would kill up there. But yeah, no, it was very moving. It was, the Pope spoke to, it was like Chris Rock and Whoopi Goldberg and Stephen Colbert and all these people, and it was Jim Gaffigan, Conan O'Brien. It was just like this unbelievable. And to be very clear, I was at the bottom of that list. They called me in May to go in June. I'm pretty sure there was an April list.
You think somebody fell off?
I think there was some fallouts.
Maniscalco dropped out, I heard.
Well, Maniscalco maybe. I think what probably happened is that a few people dropped out. The Pope Googled comedian on his Dell laptop, and then he sees his last name from birth is Bergoglio.
Oh.
My last name is Birbiglia. And so I think he might have been like, is it Birbiglia? I'm a Bergoglio. Is it my long-lost cousin? He doesn't talk like that, of course. He's not Italian, but I don't know if the comedy community has signed off on the Buenos Aires accent yet. So until then, Mamma mia, I'm at the Pope.
Did you all fly over together in the same plane?
No, we were, we got to see, it was like a very seat of our pants kind of thing. There was a handful of emails that went around and said, you're invited to this. And there was a letter, but it could have been fake. You know what I mean? It could have been a catfishing Pope scam. And then, and it was kind of like, you get your way, find your way over there, put yourself up, figure it out.
Show up at this time.
And we did. And I thought it was lovely. I mean, it was I have a lot of jokes about it on stage that undercut that notion, but
did you physically, what is it, kiss the ring, shake a hand?
He doesn't do kiss the ring that much. He's not into that. That's actually one of the things I like about this Pope. He's very different.
Was it
more down to earth?
A traditional Western handshake or a low five?
It was a traditional Western handshake.
Slap in that low five.
I always call it a traditional Western. It was
from the Judeo-Christian tradition. I'm just asking.
We shook his hand, and it was funny because I think all of us thought, as comedians, we just thought we were going to speak with the Pope, but it wasn't that. It was the Pope.
You didn't get to do five for him?
No, we didn't do five. There's no communication. I mean, he spoke to us about comedy, which I think is a great example of power corrupting. It's like if you meet Chris Rock, you don't go, I'm going to give him a speech about comedy.
Well, I'm the Pope. I must know about this.
Exactly. I must know about this.
Have you heard the prayer of the clown, Mike?
Yeah. And then, it's like me showing up at NASA, like, I got some thoughts on rockets, fellas. I think we should build them. And then,
did he do any jokes? I mean,
he didn't do jokes, but I think that there were things that sounded like jokes that I think everyone politely laughed at.
Yeah, do you think he was kind of hoping for a good laugh? And, after it was over, he walked backstage to one of his buddies and went, what do you think?
If the priest is getting polite laughs, I think the Pope gets the most polite.
I would think.
Of course.
There was a lot of polite laughter. And it was also a translation. We had he was speaking Italian. We had a sheet on our seat that was the translation. we had a sheet that had the translation, and then it said our names on the seat, like a little sheet of paper. And so we're going up to him, and he speaks English, but he doesn't really. It's like, let's be honest. And so I thought, well, I'll hold up the thing that says Mike Birbiglia. And I went up to him, and I was just like, I'm Birbiglia. You are Bergoglio. I'm the next pope. And he laughed at that, but he doesn't speak English, so there's no way.
Our guest is comedian Mike Birbiglia, and Mike's got some great movies out there.
There's a lot in the mix.
A lot of stuff going on, books, et cetera, et cetera. The father of a beautiful 9-year-old, and on tour. With a few more stops for the tour, and then will this be? Can you even say? Is this going to be like a Netflix thing, or do you know what's going to happen?
It'll come out as a special. I think next year, probably. Yeah.
Now, when you're doing something like this, and you do a series of them, do you ever think of a new joke while you're up there, and do you say to yourself, "I'm going to try to remember this when I get off stage," or do you actually try it on any given night, or?
I would describe it as, this is like a 60-city tour. I think every show has a few more jokes, a few more things structurally changed. It's like I always talk about these shows because they're autobiographical. All my shows are like based on kind of the most personal parts of my life, and you don't know what's going to happen in your life. So at the beginning of the tour, it's different from the end of the tour. It's 2 years of your life. You don't know what's going to happen. So it's like, it started out as this idea of like, oh, what am I going to teach my daughter? I don't know all that much stuff. And then my dad had a medical incident on January that was really hard. So we've been home a lot. My brother Joe and I have been home quite a bit. And so it's really been a reflection on like, what did my dad teach me when I was a kid, and what can I teach my daughter? And it becomes kind of like a generational show. Yeah. Which is, I think, why it's called The Good Life.
Do you find that you will have a thought and you don't express it on stage, and you get off stage and go, I have this great idea, and you can't remember it?
Yeah, I mean, that happens. Yeah, that's a constant. But I find the more you're, like this week I was in Milwaukee and Madison, Minneapolis, and all this stuff, and it's like, I find the more you're on tour, the less you forget. It's when you go back into your day-to-day existence, like for me in Brooklyn, it's like that's when I fall apart a little bit.
Now, did your brother Joe go to meet the Pope with you?
Joe did not get the invite for the Pope.
Oh, they don't allow you to bring your management.
I brought Jenny, my wife Jenny, our daughter Una. But it's interesting, because it's like I didn't, I'm explaining this religion to my daughter, but I just, she's not really raised religious per se. And so but it's massive, and like you're saying, it's stunning. It's a stunning experience. And I'm saying to her, like I was raised in this church. This is the whole thing that I was raised, in this religion. And I don't believe in all of it now, but you can, and Grandma does, and a lot of this artwork is stolen. But
you make up your own mind.
Yeah. But I don't think you should steal artwork. But if you do, don't give it back. I think that's the lesson. That's the lesson of the Vatican.
Keep it long enough, people will think it's yours.
Yeah.
We're speaking with comedian Mike Birbiglia, and I have a couple of younger daughters, as you know. And they're, of course, huge fans of Taylor Swift, like many are.
Who?
Yeah.
And so we're watching some videos one night, and all of a sudden, I go, oh, my God, that's Mike Birbiglia. And the girls lose their minds. They can't believe it. I know him.
Yeah, I played her son in a music video.
How did that...
For Anti-Hero.
Yeah,
how did that happen? Did some casting agent go, he'd be perfect for this? Or?
Well, I've known for, 20 years. I've been friends with Jack Antonoff.
Jack Antonoff?
Collaborates with her. Mm-hmm. And so in a happenstance thing, she and I met through Jack when they were writing that album. And she's one of these people who a lot of times she conceives of songs and videos kind of all at the same time. It's like a giant thing. And she met me around that time, and she didn't tell me this, but she thought like that could be that person. That could be my son who's, if you watch the video, who's kind of nuts and has like, it's wearing like a wig and this outfit. It's like this son who it's like an imagination of like a horrible thing where your children, when you die, are squabbling over your fortune or whatever. And so I played this kind of horrible son. And so that's that. Yeah, it was a dream for me. I mean, she directed it. She wrote it. It was just super cool.
Where did you film it?
Filmed it in Los Angeles. And then probably the coolest thing about it was that I got to take my daughter Una, who loves Taylor's music, to her first concert at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
It was pretty cool, yeah.
Wow. Now, has anyone recognized you just from that?
Every now and then. The wig is pretty, it's a good deflect from what I look like. I mean, it's kind of a crazy outfit, but it's like, true
Swifties would know, though. I mean, they know everything about everything she's ever done.
Yes.
So I'm sure they know.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No, and even before, when we showed up at the stadium, they were showing outtakes from the videos and stuff. And so it was on like this Megatron.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Did Una go, that's my daddy?
She did. She kind of loves it. It's sweet.
So is she rating the Pope against Taylor Swift and Taylor wins?
That's it for another Bob and Tom Show Extra. Catch us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. For Bob and Tom Extra, this is Christopher. Take care, everybody.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Why? Because you're not playing me.
With rapid fire takes.
Y'all went from the Super Bowl straight to the toilet bowl. He's not over the NFL. The NFL is over him.
Scorching debates.
All the good, all the bad, all the ups, all the downs.
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Sorry for what I said because it was appropriate when I said it, but I can't say it anymore, dude. You are killing the game.
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.